This was never supposed to happen between us. Have you ever met someone who slowly became important to you without permission? Not because you planned it, not because you were searching for them, and certainly not because you expected your life to change. Yet, somehow, one ordinary moment became the beginning of something unforgettable. This was never supposed to happen between us. We were supposed to remain strangers, two people living separate lives, two people carrying different stories, different dreams, different struggles, different destinations. Nothing suggested our paths would cross in a meaningful way. Nothing suggested that one day your name would occupy space in my thoughts. Nothing suggested that your presence would matter, and yet, here we are. Looking back at a connection neither of us expected. The strange thing about life is that the people who change us the most rarely arrive with an announcement. They don't come with signs, they don't come with warnings, they don't come with explanations. They simply appear. Quietly, naturally, almost invisibly. At first, they're just another person, another conversation, another passing moment. But then something shifts, something small, something difficult to explain. A conversation lasts longer than expected. A message means more than it should. A simple interaction stays in your mind long after it's over. And suddenly, what felt ordinary begins to feel different. You start noticing things, the way they listen, the way they understand, the way they see things from a perspective you've never considered. The way they make you feel comfortable without trying. Without realizing it, you begin looking forward to hearing from them. You begin paying attention. You begin caring. And that's when you realize something important. The connection is no longer casual. It's becoming real. This was never supposed to happen between us, because meaningful connections are rarely logical. Logic tells us to stay detached. Logic tells us to protect ourselves. Logic tells us not to become emotionally invested. But human connection doesn't follow logic. It follows something deeper, something older, something that cannot always be explained. And perhaps that's why some people feel familiar from the very beginning. Not because you've met them before, but because something about their presence feels known, safe, comforting. As though a part of your soul recognizes something your mind cannot understand. Maybe that's why their words carry weight. Maybe that's why their absence feels noticeable. Maybe that's why ordinary moments suddenly feel significant. Because connection has begun doing what connection always does. Changing you. Slowly, quietly, one conversation at a time, one memory at a time. One realization at a time. And before long, you find yourself asking a question you never expected to ask. Why do they matter so much? Why does their happiness matter? Why does their opinion affect me? Why do I think about them when they're not here? The answer isn't always love. Sometimes it's something equally powerful. Understanding, recognition. The rare experience of feeling truly seen. Because in a world where most people only notice the surface, being understood feels extraordinary. And when someone understands you, something inside you begins to relax. The need to perform disappears. The need to pretend fades away. The need to hide slowly loses its power. For the first time in a long time, you feel safe enough to be yourself. And that changes everything.